that some people thought last Friday got canceled. Big sales. How you doing? I like the element of suspense. I actually like that. What happened? Is it his communistic California cable again? Which it is. Is it JAKIB? You know, these people are like the Gambino crime family. You get whacked, they never see you again. That's what Joe Krause and Xander like the Gambino crime family. Hey, what happened to Jody? He got it in the back of the head. That was the end of it. What happened to that guy, Harry? I don't know. He's out there sleeping with the fishes. What do you want? I don't know. Cecilia necktie. I actually like the element of suspense. Hope all had a great weekend. And it was a great sports weekend. By the way, we are 30 days out from the start of training camp. We're here, boys. We're here, girls. Some of you girls that fits. We're here, dude. Your 90-man roster is set. You're going to camp, obviously, with James Bradbury. There's a lot of question marks going into these training camps for a lot of teams, not just the Eagles. There's a game 7 tonight. I can't wait for Edmonton and Florida. I'm rooting for Edmonton tonight. They came roaring back down 3-0 in Edmonton, but then again, wait a minute. I got to root for America, so I can't root for a Canadian. Sorry. I'll have to take that back. Nah, I'm not rooting for some Canadian team. I can't have that. You know, I got to keep my stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. Forget it, man. I gotta go with the Panthers. Yeah, gotta hang in there, red, white, and blue. Oh, and by the way, did you see the love that JAKIB and Big Sills and all of you got with your boy Mark Holmes? So Mark Holmes went and I could have hooked him up with an autograph if he wanted from Michael Irvin. So he went to a Cowboy autograph session. Charles Haley was there, and I think that stuff's pretty cool. People like doing that. Again, these autographs and memorabilia that get signed, they're like stock certificates. A lot of that stuff goes up in value. Sports merchandise and memorabilia is one of the hottest markets out there when it comes to investing money in. So Mark Holmes was there over the weekend, and he saw Michael Irvin. And I posted it on my Twitter page. Hey, we got a mutual friend, Dan Sileo. I show up on the show on JAKIB Sports, a national football show, with Philly 500 and Dan Sileo. And Mike goes, oh, that's my guy. That's my boy, man. I know he called me the other day. I got to get back to him. Mike's been going through some stuff, obviously, with his wife. So he made a deal with Mark. And I got a text over the weekend that he's going to come on during that Wednesday segment with Philly 500, Mark Holmes, Michael Irvin, and myself, and you. I was like, okay. So he told him that there. And so, like, you know, I got to figure out when we're going to be able to do all that. I don't know if we can have all those voices on. Can we have that many folks on? Xander, can we have the 3 of us and then Michael too and have 4? Can we do that and put 4 people on at the same time? Xander says, yep. All right. So go to that video and watch it. I like it, man. So I got to hand it to him. So I'm watching Birds 365. By the way, we're trying to get to 200 likes as we do each and every single day, hopefully without any interruptions today. We try to get to 200 likes. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. You know, I heard Johnny Mack talking about something that, and Xander was talking about, as we're 30 days out from the start of training camp, there's some things are you thinking about right now as you get ready to start your football season, 30 days out, which is insane. I heard John saying something about practice. And I heard him saying something about, hey, you know, Jalen's working on some stuff with Kellen Moore, the new offense, and what have you. And I heard him say something. You're not trying to win practice. I couldn't disagree more. Where are you going to learn how to win? In a game? You practice winning on every play that you're challenged. By the way, you think you make your football team by what you do in a game? You make your football team by what you do in practice. That's how you make a roster. Some of these guys don't get in games. How do you think they make the roster? By winning practice, winning every rep. If you don't have the mindset that you're in a championship mode at all times, no matter what the play is, no matter when it is, a Tuesday or a Sunday, I get the wrong guy on my roster. I want guys who are willing to pay the price every day, not on Sundays. Who are you, the Cowboys? That's the Cowboys mentality. I want guys that want to win a play every day. I want guys that practice championship tempo every day. You know where I learned that from? Being around Jimmy Johnson. You don't just try something for a half-ass effort. I completely disagree with that mentality. If you're not going to win it, why do it? So, Sills, that would mean you're going to be a pro player that is going to take up for Philly. Can you handle that? That seemed to bother you last week. Dude, does it really seem to bother you or bother me when somebody starts talking shit on you guys? I don't know if you've noticed it, Bob. Okay, if you noticed it, I kind of stick up for you. I can't believe it. Cal, Jimmy Johnson taught you that, Sills. I've told you guys this before. Guys like Joe Paterno and Barry Switzer and Buddy Ryan come down from the Eagles. He used to look over at all of us. This goes to John McMullen's comment that was on Birds 365, which was awesome, by the way, today. Good job, Xander. Xander will be with us at 3:30. Gary Cobb's at a football camp. He'll be with us tomorrow. Okay? So, they used to come down to our practices all the time and go, how do you get these guys to play so hard all the time? You know what Jimmy would say? It's their competitive fire in them. These guys never take a play off. It wasn't just me. It was 70 of us. Nobody took plays off. We practiced harder and played harder during the week than we did on Saturdays. And he carried that over to the NFL. The games were always easy. The practices were the most competitive time in my entire college career. And that was probably like that when it was at Alabama with Nick Saban. Our roster has upgraded tremendously. Nafiz, where do you think you've upgraded significantly? Just curious. Where do you think you've upgraded significantly? Edge rusher, you haven't. Where would you say that? Where do you think you've upgraded significantly? Where? I'm just curious. Center? I don't think so. Secondary, that's yet to be seen. You don't know. Corner stunk last year. You got guys that never played an NFL down. How do you know? You don't know that you've upgraded. You've never drafted anybody in Howie Roseman's tenure that's been decent in the secondary. How do you know? Linebacker? You haven't upgraded at linebacker. You don't know that. You've gotten a bunch of guys that were released by other teams. Every guy that's playing your linebacker position was released. How do you know you've upgraded? Gardner Johnson's an upgrade. Gardner Johnson's an upgrade. Your linebackers are not upgraded. You haven't had decent linebackers since Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. And you know this. And you know this. Your best linebacking core was 2022. Barkley's probably an upgrade. So Barkley and Gardner Johnson. And you lose depth in defensive tackle and also at center. Some were former Pro Bowlers before being released 4 years ago. So I think quarterbacks are the exception to the rule. You're learning what happens with certain plays and concepts. Okay? Yo, our linebackers were bad. Those linebackers that you had a year ago were rated higher than the ones you have starting right now. Go look it up. Zach Cunningham at a higher rating than anybody you have on the team right now. Center, you haven't upgraded. I don't think that's going to be a drastic fall off, though. I actually have great expectations for Cam Jurgens. I think Cam Jurgens has a shot to be a Pro Bowler. Still, you know damn well the cornerback got up. No. How? Get this. Steven goes, you know damn well the cornerback position got upgraded. How do I know that? From a guy who played in the Mid-America Conference? That is such an asshole statement. A guy who's never played a down in pro football, he's saying, well, I know it's upgraded. You don't know that. Let's see it play out. Hey, let me ask you this. Are you under the assumption that Quinyon Mitchell is better than Cooper DeJean with that mentality just because he was drafted higher? Is that your mentality? Or is Cooper DeJean better? How do you know? I don't. I know he has more opportunity to get on the field because he could play in the slot, nickel, and corner. Rodgers is an upgrade. You don't know that. And here's the case. See what Cole says? Rodgers is an upgrade for Bradbury, Sills. Then why is Bradbury still on the team? Hey, Cole, if he's an upgrade, why are they paying a player $11 million? If he's an upgrade, why is he still on the team? Why is he still on the team? He's not. Get this. Mr. International, he's going to get traded or cut. Traded? Really? So who's going to pick up the next 2 years, the cap hit, and $11 million for James Bradbury? What general manager with any kind of brain cells would make a shitty move like that? Who? Let me take the Eagle problem on and make it cost me more money and give up a draft pick? Why in the world would I do that? When I could wait for them to cut him and pick him up for the league minimum. That is asinine. Nobody on the planet with any kind of common sense is going to trade for James Bradbury. Hey, and get this. You could cut the player if you're the Eagles and save $6 million. Why don't you do it? If you cut James Bradbury, you save $6 million. He's scheduled to make 11. You cut him, it's 4-3 hit on the cap. Why in the world would you not cut him? Still, any chance Bradbury stays for depth, or does cutting him say it saves money? But I think the Eagles aren't sure yet. You know why? Because of what I just said. Dude, nobody absolutely. Your secondary has tremendous upside. I'll give you this. I think there's some good-looking potential. But I also happen to think that it's fool's gold, that the offensive woes of Hurts made those guys look a little better, because if that was the case, Bradbury would have been cut if they were so sure that's what that was and what they were watching. He'd have been cut. Here's why. You're 31st. Get this. Think about something right now. You're 31st in pass defense. Why would you keep him? You can't get any worse. Play the young guys. Why is he still on the team? Because of what I'm telling you, not what you're saying. Vic Fangio thinks what I'm thinking. I don't know what we have yet. We'll see. Once they get into competitive, controlled scrimmages, and also in exhibition football. That's last year? Dude, you're only as good as the last game you played, jackass. These guys have never played. How in the world can you say that an NFL guy is going to line up against Jordan Love, who destroyed the Cowboys secondary, who had Pro Bowlers in it, and you're going to line up with rookies? Really? Where do you get that from? Where? I'm not telling you they can't be good. I'm telling you that you have never exhibited anything when it came to drafting quality corners. You have not. Let's see them play out. You can't name me one corner in the last 15 years you drafted that was good. Don't you get it? Both your corners you traded for and you signed. You didn't draft them. Your two starting corners as of right now were not drafted. Lito fucking Shepherd. How many years ago did you draft that guy? 17? How many years ago did you draft? Let me see here. When was Lito Shepherd drafted? Is anybody? Troy Vincent. He works in the NFL front office right now. 20 years ago, you drafted Lito Shepherd. Yeah, that's quite a record. Good grief. Close to 20 years. Dude, I'm not dogging the kids. I'm tempering your expectations. Relax. Hey, dude, if you guys continue to jump in front of the start gate like you did a year ago, you're going to come crashing down again. I'm telling you, I told you after New England a year ago, that's not a good defense. And it played out. I thought they'd get a little better. They never did. It never got better. Jalen Mills? Who the fuck is that? Jalen Mills. And by the way, Isaiah Rodgers, you didn't draft him either. All of your decent players that you have in the secondary as of right now were either traded for or you signed from other teams. Gardner Johnson, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Isaiah Rodgers. You haven't put one person in the secondary that's decent yet. So don't make it sound like you're some sort of gurus in drafting secondary guys. You were 31st last year in defensive pass defense. Get a break. All right. I heard something that Xander said on Birds 365 this morning. I implore you to watch that show. It's pretty damn good. He brought up Jeremy Fowler's comment. And it troubled me. Jeremy Fowler made the comment that the Eagle offense is meshing, and what we're learning is that Jalen's taking more accountability, and he's more vocal, and he's more entrenched in the offense. And there's a meshing of the old and the new. And I was like, wait a minute here. So Jeremy Fowler, respected NFL guy. Nick Sirianni said the same thing. You know, we're going to try to take some of the old and new. I thought Nick was full of shit. I'm starting to think Jalen Hurts is full of shit. Okay, because now you have Jeremy Fowler. Now, did the Eagle office tell him that? Because he goes, I'm being told, or I'm learning. Isn't that what the phrasing was? I'm learning that Jalen Hurts? Did someone tell him that? Is there some sort of narrative coming out of the Eagle PR department that you would reach out to Jeremy Fowler? And now Jeremy Fowler is saying that what Jalen Hurts said about a 95% offense and reconstruction of a new offense. Here's another guy. Now you're using a national guy too to dispute what Hurts is saying. I'm asking a question. Jeremy Fowler came out and said, there's a meshing of the old and new. I'm being told. Isn't that what the quote was? By the way, this is not gossip. This is from Jeremy Fowler himself. Who told him this? He wasn't at practice. He said, I'm being told. Okay, so he wasn't at practice. How can you make a statement like that unless somebody told you that? Okay, so somebody in the Eagle office told him that. Would you not agree? It is the narrative being pushed out. I'm asking a question here. You guys can disagree with me if you want. Jeremy Fowler on a tweeted out, I'm being told that Jalen Hurts is taking more responsibility and more accountability. This is where I'm kind of paraphrasing here a little bit. On the offense from a year ago to this year. A couple days ago, it was Howard Eskin saying, no, it's more like 20%. Okay? So now you got a national guy, a local guy disputing Jalen Hurts. Someone says, so what? My point is, why is that so important? It's not important to me. Why is it important to the Eagles? If he fails? Why is that so important to the Philadelphia Eagles? To have that out there like that. Jeremy Fowler wasn't even at practice for that comment. How would he know? Can someone answer me that? Jeremy Fowler was not at practice when he tweeted that out. How can you make a comment about Jalen Hurts being more, and where'd you had to get that from somebody inside the front office telling Jeremy Fowler, hey, Jalen, offense is not new. It's a meshing of the old and new. And Jalen's really, now again, they didn't shit on him, but they did shit on that 95% comment. Prince, I'm not throwing shade either way, but Prince, you're right, some of you. I don't give a shit. Why do the Eagles? Why do the Eagles care so much? I don't think it's a big deal. Why do they care so much? That you would go to a national reporter and tell him something, and he wasn't even in Philly for the training camps. And again, like I said, I don't give a fuck. Why do the Eagles care so much? That they would have to have that out there like that. Why? Control, Joseph? Yeah, controlling of the narrative. I heard Xander say that about, and I go like this, and I looked through Jeremy Fowler's timeline. He was never in Philly. Well, how did he know what was being told to him was the truth? Don't you have to be at practice to see something like that, like John McMullen? John McMullen's at practice. John McClain's at practice. That's not what they were saying. They were saying something completely different than what Xander Krause was saying today. Why is that so important? You know why it's important? Because that organization is going to do every single thing they possibly can, never to look bad, even if it's the smallest, stupidest shit. That's a stupid nothing burger. But it just shows you the pettiness. It's dude, I'm on Jalen's side. Believe it or not, I'm on Jalen's side. You know why? I think Jalen is giving himself an off ramp because these guys are so fucking petty that little shit like that doesn't bother you and me, bothers them. That 95% is an indictment on Nick. Dude, the wide receivers even came out and said, we have more freedom this year. I'm with Jalen. I'm with Jalen Hurts on this. Hey, man, these guys, you're that fucking petty that you care that much that you called a guy in New York City who wasn't, I looked through, like I said, I looked through Jeremy Fowler's timeline. He was never in Philly to watch any OTA or minicamp. How does he know that's true? Unless somebody from the front office told him, like Howie, or somebody that works with Howie, or a coach, or Nick. It just doesn't make sense that you would be so freaking petty like that, that you went out of your way to dispel and dispute that 95% new offense. I thought that was weird. Again, I heard the guys talking about it, and I went back in Jeremy Fowler's timeline. He was never in Philly. How do you report on something going, I'm hearing? That's gossip. Jeremy Fowler was gossiping. He wasn't covering the team. He was gossiping about the team. And he's a national guy who covers the team. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. That's not my gig. That's not ever what I've done. I just like, wow. By the way, our pre-camp Big Sills NFL Power Rankings. We're going to do that. I'm going to ask a question here in a second because we're now 30 days out for a lot of teams, not just the Philadelphia Eagles, that are going to start training camp coming up. There's no question the most important thing to be watching during this offseason and going into training camp, it's not the relationship with Jalen Hurts and Nick. It's the relationship with Jalen Hurts and Kellen. How's that going to work? What's the number one concern? What's the number one concern that you would have with Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore? What would be the number one concern? Jalen's ego? I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Is Hurts truly coachable? Wow. Ego, and are you coachable? Okay. Moore doesn't fit his play. That is a spectacular take. Kellen's ego. Too complicated for him. Angelo said he heard it from somebody else. That's not reporting. That's gossiping. That's not a report. Reading defenses, Sills. Hurts never running motion or reading defenses throughout his career, including college. Kellen Moore's offenses will fail if Hurts can't use motion to diagnose and create mismatches. That's a well thought out take. The fact that Hurts can't read defenses. These journalists are puppets. I wrote something down before we continue on that. And these are all spectacular takes. These are all, you guys are on your A game here today. Very good. You guys are on your A game here today. I wrote something down. You got to remember something. When you talk about Nick Sirianni, I was Talking to somebody the other day, they asked me who I compared him to. You know who I compared him to? I compared him to Jason Garrett. He was more in that line, in my opinion. He's more of a Jason Garrett kind of guy. Can Jalen adjust to more and more help Hurts? Yes. These are all really great takes. Remember something about a puppet. Some people in here think he's the best coach in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to always remember something about a puppet. They have no guts and they have no heart. Okay? They have no guts and they have no heart. That's what a puppet is. I saw somebody mentioning, and somebody was telling me that guys were talking on IP and they were comparing him to John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh picks his own coaches. John Harbaugh picks his own coordinators. John Harbaugh is knee deep in personnel decisions because that's the way the Baltimore Ravens run their operation. It's a different dynamic. I can't believe the one thing that we still have here is that there's still some people believe that that coach has some type of say in anything. He has zero say. But again, this is where I started the program out by saying this. That guy there, okay, they were so upset with Jalen's comment that they're being petty with Jeremy Fowler. I dislike the narrative that suggests Kelly is uncoachable. Kelly is unable to coach a running quarterback. As a coach, you should adapt to the talent on your team. Prince, do you know why Nick Sirianni failed as an offensive play calling coach? Why do you think he failed as an offensive play calling coach? Failed miserably. Last year was his offense in the year he started in Philly. Why do you think he sucked so bad as a play calling head coach? Any ideas why Nick failed? And we'll circle back to Kellen and Jalen. Why do you think Nick has sucked so bad in Philly? JM, right there, Xander, JM. That's exactly correct. Because Hurts isn't Phillip Rivers. And somebody just said, well, Kellen Moore should adapt and create an offensive play calling system for Jalen Hurts. Nick couldn't do it. What makes you think Kellen Moore will do it? And if some of you think Nick hired Kellen, Nick Sirianni is a Phillip Rivers guy. He's a Phillip Rivers guy in Indianapolis. He was a Phillip Rivers guy in San Diego. Shane Steichen's the guy that changed the offense. And by the way, that's who Shane Steichen is. Look at the guy they drafted. He didn't draft a drop back guy. He drafted an RPO guy. He had every opportunity in the previous draft to draft a quarterback that was a 7-step guy. He didn't. Why? Because that's Shane Steichen's forte. You guys are under some sort of misconception here that Kellen Moore, who's never coached an RPO player, is going to dramatically change his game. I heard John say that. Where in the history of his coaching and his time in the NFL has he ever done that? Change the style of play that fit the player. Where has he done that? Nick tried it and failed. But Kellen Moore will? Kellen Moore will. Why? Why? Hey, by the way, did you see the list what the guys were talking about on First Take today about the coaches that are on the hot seat? Sirianni's 3. Nick Sirianni's 3, and he's been in the playoffs 3 years in a row in a Super Bowl. And he's on the 3rd hottest seat of any NFL head coach. How's that for you? Right? Also, firing Doug Peterson hurt Jalen's progression. Maybe a little. Maybe a little. So the issue this year will be Moore's ambition to be a head coach pitted against Nick's self-preservation and job security. Hurts will be the weapon both will try to use. It's a great take, Bob. You got one guy in the hand that wants to be a head coach badly. You got another guy who's saving his job, and you got Hurts in the middle. You think that's a healthy dynamic? I like the defensive dynamic. Hey, Vic, go fix the defense. Doesn't it look like to me that everybody on the defensive side, hey, Vic, fix it. Go ahead. Well, everyone's concerned about the number one side of the ball, and that's the offense instead of the defense. And you're like this, the defense needs more care. Go ahead, Vic. That's because you got all your money spent on one side of the ball. What you're saying that he's uncoachable. I never said that. I said, I don't know what Kellen Moore is going to look like this year as a coordinator. Kellen Moore this year will never look the same as what he looked in Dallas or in Los Angeles. It'll be the first time he's ever coached a player like that in his entire coaching time. 5 years in Dallas, 1 year in Los Angeles. He's never coached a player like Jalen Hurts. Ever. Or an offense like what I think they're going to do. Or what some of you are suggesting they're going to do. I don't think that. I think they're going to coach him like Dak. I totally believe they're going to coach him like Dak Prescott. We have a play calling head coach who calls the owner's game, not calling the game that's happening in front of him. That doesn't mean that Moore can't do it. No, it doesn't. It means it's like talking to me about a rookie cornerback. I don't know. I know this. Sean McVay going into a football season as the play caller for the Rams, pretty confident in that. Kyle Shanahan, I'm pretty confident in that. Matt LaFleur, pretty confident in that. The kid in Houston, Slowick, I'm pretty confident in that. Johnson in Detroit, I'm pretty confident in that play calling. Those are your Andy Reid, obviously, in Kansas City. I'm pretty confident in that. Those are your great play callers in the league right now. This is a brand new experiment for Kellen Moore. He's coaching a non-traditional drop-back quarterback, which he never has. Okay? Jalen loves to be coach hard, so why would he be hard to coach? I never said he was. I never said he was. Kellen Moore played the quarterback position. I've seen more offensive plays than Nick quarterbacks understand the position, even though they haven't run it themselves. That's the difference. How do you know when you're Kellen Moore running an RPO when you've never play called it in a game that you have a feel for that? See, I think the offense is going to look good in 25. I think you're getting ahead of your skis here a little bit to think that this thing's going to look great this year. You might want to pump the brakes and give it some time. You're going, but Sills, look at all the talent. You had all the talent last year. It didn't matter. Dude, everybody had good years except the team. So you're saying the spots on Jalen's leopard will be hard to change? No. I'm talking Kellen Moore's spots on his back is going to be hard to change. See, okay, so who's going to change? Kellen Moore or Jalen? Who's going to change here? This is the confusing part of this. Are you making an offense for Hurts? So that means Kellen Moore's changing. So then another guy that you hired and paid for, completely different than anything he's ever done in any place, in any stop in his coaching time. And you guys are sitting there going, he's a great play caller. Well, how do you know that with a brand new offense? If that's the case, well, the narrative came out listening to Xander and the guys this morning. Jeremy Fowler saying it's a meshing of the old and new. Okay. Hurts is saying it's brand new. Okay. What is it? Is it a new offense or not? Why can't you ever get clarity questions out of that place? Is it a new offense? Why is that so fucking hard to answer? Hey, coach, is it a new offense? Yes or no? Why can't anyone ask a simple question? Hey, we've been hearing conflicting comments from everybody, from Jeremy Fowler to Howard Eskin to Jalen Hurts to Nick. Is it or is it not a new offense? You never get the truth. Dude, that question has not been answered. Has it? It's been how long's the offseason been? February since the Super Bowl? Since February. They can't answer the question. Is the offense new or not? Yes or no? I can't wait to the next time that Nick and Howie or whomever is sitting at a press conference when someone will have the baguettes to just say this. Is it or is it not a new offense? Yes or no? And I don't want to hear an explanation. I would ask really the question, hey, look, yes or no? Is it a new offense? I don't want to hear an explanation so that you could take us off the path. Dude, you can't get the simplest fucking thing answered ever. That's a frustrating thing this offseason has been. Nobody tells the truth. Why the Eagles create such BS? Hey, you tell me this. Why can't you just answer the question? No, it's not. Okay. I'll believe you. You won games. Damn, Boise State ran an RPO style offense when Kellen played. He ran a lot up there? Did he? I'll have to look his numbers up. Eagles give mixed messages to confuse the public, media like you, Sills. I'm not confused, senor. I just want a yes or no question answered. Is it new or not? You really? Hey, senor, you're under the assumption I'm a really super smart guy. I'm not. That's why I don't talk super smart. So you're giving me more credit. I'm a yes, no guy. Okay, I'm a yes or no guy. I can't believe nobody can answer. I can't believe that you just don't want the question answered. You know why? You don't want it answered. Because that means the focus goes on one person. Okay? Either goes on Hurts or the staff. Seals, Howie and Jeff have set up a toxic situation on this team. The OC and head coach will be fighting for the same seat the minute something goes wrong. The system Moore will run does not. I got it. I agree. Players and coaches should not be giving people the truth or what their offense and defenses are going to look like in 2024. I'm not asking you to describe the offense. I'm asking you, is it new or not? Quarterback said it's new. I got it from him. Dude, don't you understand something here? I didn't make that up. I got it from the quarterback's mouth. That wasn't God. A lot of you people like to be lied to. I just want a simple, okay? I just want a simple question answered. There's so many conflicting things going on here. I don't know. Does it give a competitive advantage to know what style of I didn't ask you to tell me the style of offense. I asked you if it's new or not. I didn't ask you to dissect it. I didn't ask you to dissect. I asked you, is it new or not? Dude, the Jeremy Fowler comment is a fucking joke. Holy cow. Do they have mouthpieces for them? Bob Lang knows what he's doing. Hey, you want to get something out there with using a guy's name? Hey, Jeremy, guess what we are going to tell you here? Jalen's doing this. Jalen's doing that. Oh, he's looking great. Oh, he's doing this. And he comes out going, I'm being told. What kind of fucking reporter is that? It's like that Adam Schefter guy talking to me about game strategy. What would he know? He reports on guys being injured or not, or trades. What would he know about game strategy? The funniest thing I ever hear is on that Monday Night Countdown that he's on it, talking to me about in-game. And I'm like, what in the world is that guy doing? What would he know about in-game anything? Has he ever been in a coaching room before? Every time I see Adam Schefter, I laugh on NFL Game Day. Hey, trades, potential trades, he's great. Same with Fowler. That's where their expertise stops. What would they know? What would they know? Fowler can't afford to report something like that without a valid source. You're damn right. Bob Lang calls him and tells him. Offense isn't new. They don't want the coach to look like Jason Garrett. Read the tweet. He wasn't at Eagle Camp. So are you working with Moore? Are you working with Nick? What is it? What a crazy ass dynamic they have there. And this is the shit I talk about all the time with your organization. You're right here. And you do the pettiest and dumbest shit that mean nothing. It's like dumb noise. Yeah, it's a new offense. Next question. Well, how much? I'm not telling you this. What do you want me to do? Give you my playbook? Well, I mean what? You'll see it come September. It's a new offense? Yeah. Well, how is that affecting? It's the reason why I have training camp. The reason why we have mini camps. The reason why we have OTAs. There's a simple way to answer this, but you don't have the right guy answering the question because he doesn't know how to. He's not qualified to be the head coach because he's not qualified to answer idiots like me. He's not qualified. It's a brand new offense. Jalen's, it's a meshing of the old and new. You know what I would have said to that if I was Nick Sirianni? You know what I would have said? Jalen said it's a brand new offense. Well, I'm sure some of the things that we're seeing in this offense that we're implementing with some of the new stuff, it probably looks brand new to him. Next question. Next question. Well, you know, there's comment Jalen said about your job title. He goes, hey, I question my job title sometimes too. You know, when you're a head coach, you have so many things that you have to do. There's so much responsibility that I have. And I'm really glad that Jalen said that, because you know why? I don't want Jalen to know the responsibilities that I have for this football team. I would have thrown it right back in his fucking face. He would not have any idea what the responsibilities of being an NFL head coach is all about. I respect the kid. And I'm glad that we've made the environment for him like that he doesn't have to worry about what my job is. For the record, I don't want him to worry about my job. I want him to do his job. Next question. Isn't that how a coach should answer? Not being smart, being truthful. This ass-kissing politician that this guy is not helpful. It's not helpful. That's not Sirianni. That's how Fangio would respond. Yeah, Vic was asked the question the other day, JM. Hey, what do you make of your defense? Well, they were not very good last year. That was brilliant. We brought some new coaches in and some new players. We'll see what we have. That's outstanding, because that's all he can say. We brought some new dudes in. We got some new coaches. We'll see what we have. You can't be any more of a really great head coach answer than that right there in a nutshell. Yeah, they weren't very good last year. Okay, they weren't. First coach that's actually told the truth has been Vic Fangio. Yeah, they weren't good last year. Brought some new coaches and new players in. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Right? Can't answer like that in Philly. Are you crazy? The internet would broke. What, you don't like the truth? Gatekeeper? Philly, you don't like the truth? Can't answer like that? Why? That's how Buddy answered. Nick doesn't know his job title, those Sills. Prince, he's good at lying. Lie better. Be a better liar. More than 21 at Dallas, was middle of the pack in usage for no huddle RPO in motion, 21st in using play action. But his success rate, all of those, was top 3. The quarterback has never run more than 40 times in a season. Who's your RPO guy? Your quarterback doesn't. Dak didn't run RPOs. What are you talking about? At no time did Dak get over 40 carries in a season. Your guy approaches 170, 190. What are you talking about? Sills, did you almost die after getting cut? Yes. I was rushed to the hospital. Yes. Dan, you know Sirianni is a rah-rah guy. Remember, Watkins, look, I know. Sills, Hurts is coach's kid. He played for Saban Riley and his dad. Learned under Dougie P and Steichen. I get all that. Dallas had the number 1 ranked offense after Moore left. Well, Mike McCarthy's a better play caller. Hey, 304. I want to ask you a question now. 304. You are the perfect guy here. Do you understand that today, a month from right now, the Dallas Cowboys will show up to training camp? And 304, you tell me if you're still here, because I need you to answer this, because this is going to tie into Jalen Hurts. You're 30 days out from the start of Dallas Cowboy training camp. Do you believe that Dak Prescott will have a contract in front of him by the start of training camp. That will be in excess of $55 million. Do you believe that? JM says no. Kyle says no. I wish I knew the answer. Okay. Well, 304, I'm going to ask you this one. If I'm Dak Prescott, I play my option out. Once the season start, I'm betting on myself. If Kirk Cousins can get $48 million, I'll get 58. Let's just play this for a second. If you were to put Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott on the open market, who'd get more money? And who'd have more suitors? Dak or Jalen? What quarterback fits today's passing game? Dak or Jalen? What offenses are set up for Jalen? Two. He wouldn't have a big market. Dak would have a massive market. You know why? Dak's a passer. Jalen is more set up for RPO. Do you guys say it? Dak Prescott would be a bigger free agent and have more suitors for his style of play because teams are set up for that style of play than they are for Hurts's. How many teams have all the components that Hurts has in the league? 2? Eagles and Niners? Like maybe if he went to where? The Browns? That could look good. By the way, I'm going to be objective here. The Browns? That could look good. Where else? The Rams? That's not his style, Sean McVay. He likes drop back and deep throws. I don't think he fits in LA. Steelers? That could be. Run the ball. Najee? Good old line. Better improving old line. All right. DC with the Dotson kid and the Terry McLaurin. That could look decent. Okay. The Giants? Absolutely not. Giants have no run game. Giants have no wide receivers. They have nothing. That'd be a train wreck. The Colts? That could look, yeah. But all these places Dak would have, they'd have first option with Dak. You know why? He's a prolific passer. His entire time since he's been the starting quarterback in this league, he's been a prolific passer. Jalen's never been a prolific passer, ever. And nor will he ever be. So who do you think, again, will have a bigger market? Kirk Cousins just got $48 million. $48 million. Could he fit in Miami? Can you imagine Dak? I'd rather have Dak. Dak throws the ball better. Dak's a better passer. Hey, he's a better passer. To be fair, Jalen's 2 worst years were Nick's offense. Hey, Mad Bird. Well, again, it goes back to, you're right. Hurts is a little bit young in the league still. I'm going to go with a veteran guy. Just release Tay Hayes for weed use. A lot going on with the Jets. Yeah, then I guarantee you, what's his name? Hong Kong Phooey Reddick is probably over at the Great Wall of China now. You know, he's fighting back the Russians now or something with his samurai sword. He's probably fighting back over. Yeah, he's probably fighting them. He's fighting the Russians back now. Jay Gosil's opinion is, dog, name me one place ever where he was better passing the ball than Dak. He's never had a season anywhere remotely close to Dak's, ever. He never will. Dak's been in the league way longer than Jalen. Why not compare Dak to Mahomes? I did. As a matter of fact, over the last 50 games, they're very comparable. And I did. He's playing exactly Patrick Mahomes football. Of course, in the regular season, he matches up verbatim for him. I did that exercise, and he matches up straight across the board with Mahomes. Stop it already. Dak had the number one offense and didn't win. So did you. Top 3 defense. So did you. So did you. So did you. Jalen has played in a Super Bowl. So is Jimmy Garoppolo. Dak can't make it out of the playoffs, which is a thing. Hurts can become a great passer, but not with Nick's coaching. Again, I don't know who's coaching him. Kellen, Nick, new offense, no offense. Okay? Hey, and once again, I did that comparison. You know, it's funny. The guy doesn't, some of you guys just don't want to hear it when I bring it up. And when you do go Mahomes versus Dak, I did this when we had on Mark Holmes. Here, let's just go here. Here's just the last 28 games. Passing yards, Patrick Mahomes, 8,035. Dak, 7,242. Touchdowns, Mahomes, 53. Dak, 59. Interceptions, Mahomes, 24. Dak, 23. Completion percentage, Mahomes, 67. Dak, 69. Quarterback rating, 97.1 Mahomes, 101.6 for Dak. Record, 20-8. Both are 20-8. You're making it your hatred. And here's the one on the 50 stats. The last 50 games. Mahomes is 36-14. Dak's 33-17. 105 touchdown passes for Mahomes, 105 for Dak. INTs, 39 for Mahomes, 39 for Dak. Passer rating, 98.9 for Mahomes, 101.3 for Dak. Yards, 7.5 for Patrick Mahomes per play, 7.5 for Dak. Completion percentage, 68.9 versus 68.4. He's playing Mahomes football. What are you talking about? Stop bragging about Hurts playing in the Super Bowl. He didn't win it. Getting there is a big deal. Dude, Dak Prescott compares favorably to Mahomes when it comes to ability. I mean, get this. You know the cool thing about stop bragging about Hurts playing in the Super Bowl. He didn't win it. I get it, Flex, and it's true, but I still give him love for getting there. I think it's a deal, but I think it's not the deal everyone thinks it is. Feels the market would depend on the team. If the team thinks they can use Hurts properly, he would have a stronger market. A team like Miami and Minnesota would pay more for Dak. Their window is closing. It's a good point. You're right. An older team may pay more for Dak because they want to do it now. That could play it. Yeah. That would definitely play into conversation. That would definitely play into a conversation like that. It's not how much you compile statistics. It's when you do it. Again, I'm not saying the Cowboys have not shit all over themselves in the postseason. They have. Kellen Moore was part of that too, though. They had the number one offense, you guys were telling me, in Dallas. They shit the bed in the postseason. Mahomes definitely has an edge with his running and his coaching. Andy Reid versus Mike McCarthy. Mike's not a bad play caller, but where Andy has him is postseason failure experience. Andy Reid's not where he is right now just because of Mahomes. He's there because of the colossal failures he had in Philly. You know what I see with Andy Reid now as a better play caller? He gambles more. And he's not afraid. His 2-minute drills going into half and going at the end of ball games were colossal nightmares. And it's benefited Mahomes. And he gives him more freedom. I actually think, and I'm not a fan of McNabb, I think he put more guardrails on McNabb. He coaches that guy way different than anything and that guy plays looser football in Kansas City than McNabb did. McNabb is a borderline Pro Football Hall of Famer. As much as that kills me to say, he's a borderline Hey, is he better than Dak Prescott, McNabb? Yeah. Is he better than Romo? Yeah. Would you take him more than Bledsoe? Yeah. Yeah. You couldn't name but the elite guys. How about this one? Would you take McNabb or would you take Phillip Rivers? Damn. And I like Phillip Rivers. And I can't stand McNabb. Sills, who would you take, Rivers or McNabb? Gonna bite my tongue off. I'd probably take McNabb. You can't find too many quarterbacks better than that guy. Okay? You can't. But he's a better coach with that kid. Kid's changing plays in the fifth quarter at the Super Bowl. I'd take Phillip Rivers, and he couldn't get out of the AFC Championship game. Nor could he get to only one. Okay, JM. Wait a minute, JM. So you're going to take Rivers over McNabb. Look at JM and how much of a hypocrite the guy is. So you would take a guy who's never been to a Super Bowl, but yet when I talk to you about a guy who's better like Dak than Jalen Hurts, he's been to a Super Bowl. It matters for him though, right? Dude, can't have it both ways. You got to have a metric that you're fair with everyone with. Either it matters or it doesn't. Okay? Either it matters or it doesn't. The 1 year McNabb did have a weapon. He got to the Super Bowl. Yeah, if the Eagles had done a better job and Reid believed in wide receivers. Okay? Imagine that. Andy's still doing the same shit. Sticking with tight ends, running game, and marginal wideouts. Yeah, you're consistent, all right. Okay, I see. McNabb gets to a Super Bowl. You take Rivers over a guy who's never been to one. When I say Dak's a better ball player as a quarterback throwing the football than Jalen, that's because he went to a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's consistent. You sound it. You missed the fact that Dak had the same opportunities as Jalen did and didn't take his team to the Super Bowl. Getting to a Super Bowl isn't easy. Dude, I told you this, though, Prince. You're overvaluing that metric. I can name you a ton of bums that got there. Is Jake Delhomme really great? Rex Grossman, great? Really? I mean, a substitute teacher won you the Super Bowl. Boy, I'd like to have had that Brock Bowers kid. That'd have been something else. Sills, I will say that the NFC, when McNabb played, was much weaker than the AFC during Rivers' time. That's a fair comment. Rivers had both Manning and TB12 in the way. It's a fair comment. It's like playing during the era of Tiger Woods. If you're Phil Mickelson, it's a true comment. It is. Again, remember something. To be fair though, right, Bob? Lamar Jackson getting beat by Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game versus Baker Mayfield for Hurts in a wild card game. You would put more weight on what happened with Lamar losing to a spectacular football team than you would losing to the Bucs, would you not? Would you not? Okay. Good. You're somebody that can be reasoned with. We can't call Jalen a bum. I didn't call Jalen a bum. If he develops his weaknesses, he will get to and possibly win multiple Super Bowls, not with this style of play. And by the way, Sam, how can you develop a quarterback when you're constantly changing in and out coordinators? How do you develop continuity? Where are you getting that continuity from? Where exactly are you getting that from? The Philadelphia Eagles are consistent at one thing. They are consistent at not being consistent with coaching. Okay? Take Herbert 100 times over Wishbone. Oh, absolutely. Justin Herbert's skill set is insane. Now, here's the thing, though. Justin Herbert has no excuses either. He has absolutely no excuses when it comes to not moving the goalpost now because you have Jim Harbaugh. Plus, Harbaugh's not going to tolerate that. You know, it would not shock me if Jim Harbaugh, if he ended up trading for somebody, if Justin Herbert doesn't deliver. Okay? Do you agree? Bring Kellen in, forcing Jalen to develop a weakness we know he has. Dude, I'm going to try to do everything I can to develop what he does great. Not sit around all off season where I don't get a lot of practice time as it is. You know, like I said, I heard John McMullen saying that. Well, you know, they're practicing shit that they don't and haven't practiced before. Dude, they weren't good at anything last year. They weren't good at anything offensively. Once you practice first, the shit you do good. And then slide in the new stuff. Hey, how many people are sitting there in Kansas City right now practicing a brand new offense? You think they're practicing a brand new offense or they're adding things to the offense that Mahomes loves? Here, and let me ask you this. I heard those guys on Birds 365 saying this too. Are they adding things that Kellen Moore likes? Or are they adding things that Jalen likes? And what does Jalen like, actually? What's Jalen Hurts' favorite play? Tush push? What's his favorite play? What would be the play that you would go as his signature play? I'll tell you what, man. The one thing that you have with Mahomes is you don't know what that play is. You know what Brady's was? Check down Charlie, baby. Check down Charlie. It blows my mind how your owner and your general manager refused to win Super Bowls like Tom Brady did. Hey, great. You got yourselves one. But you'll never, ever in a million years resemble what New England did. Because it matters the optics in everything you do, from the coach looking bad in public to being so petty that you don't allow your organization to reach their total potential. That's what this comes. I was talking to Coach Johnson about this. I said, Coach, when you were coaching your coaches in Dallas, Did you have any input at all in the play calling? No. Now, I handled the timeouts. You want to hear this? I go, Jimmy, did you have any? Because I know the answers. I go, Coach Johnson, did you have any input into play calling? He goes, no. Norv did all that. Norv Turner did all that. Okay. Did you have any input in the defense? He goes, no. I handled the timeouts. I handled some substitutions, but I had no job really on Sundays. Coach goes up. My job with coaching was Monday through Saturday. Because come Monday, you know what he would do? The team fucking sucked. Hey, Butch, we gave up 35 points. What happened? Butch would go, we gave up in the secondary. He goes, do we have the right personnel back there? This is on you. Yeah, you know, and Jimmy would go, well, this guy struggled the last 3 weeks. He's not going to get it done. We're going to move him, somebody in there, Butch. He'd go over to Tony Wise. Hey, Sebnoski's getting beat on his inside. You can see it on the film here. He still needs work. Tony Wise, do you think he'll get there? I do, Coach. Turn out to be a Pro Bowler. And Jimmy would go like this. I agree with you. I think he'll get there. That's how he coached. He's sitting there, and then get this. Come Sunday again, he'd sit on the sidelines. And you know what he had? He'd flick on the offense and listen to the offensive play calling. Then he would flick over to the defense, and he would listen to the defense. And he'd go back and forth. Never with any influence whatsoever on a Sunday game. He never called one play, ever. I'll give you guys a super story. We're playing the University of Louisville, and we're trying to run the clock out. Coach Johnson goes like this, run a goddamn halfback option pass. And Tony Weiss, the offensive line coach, who was in Dallas with him, looked over at him and goes, Coach, we don't have that play. He goes, well, run something. Run something. That's a head coach. Holds players and coaches accountable. Jimmy's strengths were not play calling. His strength was kicking your ass. Getting it done or you're not. By the way, there's no hollering. You're either doing it or you're not. You know the great thing about why it was so great? Because Jimmy drafted you and he released you. He didn't have an ego when it came to, well, this guy was drafted in the 3rd round. He didn't care. It was his call. Jimmy wasn't trying to win the draft. He was trying to win ball games. He was trying to win ball games. Jimmy Johnson's the reason I became a Cowboy fan, 1989 and counting. Hey, Ultra fan, Jameson, 2022 Hurts or 2024 McNabb. They lost Super Bowls. 2024 McNabb was outstanding. 2022 Hurts was good. You could flip a coin on that one. You can. Hey, Ultra Cowboy, I'll tell you a quick story before Xander comes on. So they're on their famous run. They hadn't won a game in 89. Just hadn't won a game. Dave Wannstedt goes, hey, Jimmy, everyone's running to 34, I mean. Don't you think we should try thinking about implementing a 34? And Jimmy's like this, no, we're going to do this my way, Dave, or we're not going to do it. You're either with me or you're not. He goes, oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. He goes, we're doing it this way. 2 years later, Dallas Cowboys had #1 defense in the National Football League. No, we're going to do it this way. We're not going to deviate off this shit. We're not deviating. People with conviction. Seals, Herbert is in the same position as Rivers. It's a great comparison. It absolutely is true. It's absolutely true. Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, absolutely true. But you know what, though? To the point, though, hey, Ben Roethlisberger pushed through twice. Did he not? Hey, Ben Roethlisberger, he pushed through twice, did he not? Actually, if you think about it, Ben Roethlisberger had a better career in Pittsburgh than Peyton Manning had in Indianapolis. How many people would say that's true? How many people would say that Ben Roethlisberger had a better career in Pittsburgh than Peyton did in Indianapolis? No, I don't count the Seattle Super Bowl. Sorry. What's Seattle Super Bowl? Oh, you don't count that? He won it. Okay. No, Peyton was better. I didn't say he was better. I asked you who had a better career. Pittsburgh, Roethlisberger won 2. He's got 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning has 1 in Indy. Never had a losing season in 17 years and won 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning had a better career? Oh, I see. So multiple Super Bowls don't count versus Manning and his 1 who he underachieved in Indianapolis. They underachieved. Well, he had Manning. Well, Ben won 2. Ben won 2. Seals, Big Ben pushed through because Pittsburgh always kept the D as a priority, even when Ben was spinning it. Well, that's because, Bob, they've only hired 3 coaches since 1969. They know what they're doing in coaching and player development and patience, where most organizations don't, like you guys. Name me the last defensive football player you've developed over the last, or for a 5 or 6 year span. Let's see. Brandon Graham. Josh Sweat? Yeah. On the current defense right now, name me one Eagle you've developed. Peyton Denver, defense carried him. I'm talking more Indianapolis. TJ Edwards was on the team 2 years. Is there anybody that you've had that's on this roster right now that you've developed over the last 5 years? And he's been like, you've developed him. Is there anybody on the team right now that's been on the team 5 years that you've developed? Anybody? Sweat? Anybody on that defense that you've developed that's been on the team 5 or more years? You didn't develop Hardgrave. He was a Steeler. A lot of plays offense. Williams has been on the team 5 years. Milton Williams has been on the team 5 years. All right. So Milton Williams, Josh Sweat. Who else? Brandon Graham? Yep. He counts. You got 3. Who else? This is his 5th year. I'll count that. You think Avante Maddox has been developed? We're going there. Pittsburgh develops their defense because they invest in it. And it's not just about money. Well, it is now this year. They spent $18 million on Patrick Queen. And it's very un-Steeler-like. But the Steelers are starting to move into being a little bit more into the now because they know free agency can help clog some holes. I think Pittsburgh's going to have a really good year. They got a murder schedule, and they're in a murder division, that AFC North. Without a doubt, that thing is that's a murder division they're going to be in. Why did TJ Edwards leave? Because they didn't want to pay him. I love how people go, he wanted to go home. No, you don't. It's always the dumbest comments on the planet. TJ wanted to go home because he played at Wisconsin or some shit. Bro, you give me $8 million and you keep me on a team that's going to compete for the Super Bowl, I'm staying. Stop doing stupid shit so that it gives you an off-ramp on why the player wanted to go and you couldn't keep him and why Howie couldn't keep him. The only reason that you couldn't keep TJ is because Howie didn't want him. It's the only reason. Stop making excuses for people. He didn't want him. He doesn't value the position at all. That's why every linebacker that you'll have starting inside and even one outside, do you know all your linebackers across the row except for one you drafted? Come on, man. Seals, do you think Milton has a better year than, I'm assuming that's Jordan Davis? He did last year. I thought he was a better player last year than Jordan Davis. I mean, both your corners you didn't develop, and 3 of your 4 linebackers on your second level are not yours. But we got all an upgrade. Okay. Seals, do we pick up or trade for an edge rusher? Kyle, I think this is one of the things he does well, the GM. I think Mr. Gator does a nice job at going and finding veteran guys that can help your team. Dude, that Robert Quinn thing, if you've never heard me kill him over that, you know why? He's taking swings. I'm okay with guys taking swings like that. You know? Yeah, wait a minute. I'm getting your report here. Hang on. Oh, yeah, here it is. Here's the new report. You ready for this one? It looks like now we're gonna have hang on here. We're gonna have Samurai Reddick. He's gonna fight Rodzilla in the new epic film coming out. He's gonna be fighting Rodzilla. Hassan Reddick versus Rodzilla. I got to give Howie some love on this one, baby. He got rid of that guy, man. And he went like this. Arigato, konnichiwa.